Hello, welcome along to another edition of Finnart from the Toll podcast. It's episode 2. We're here tonight with Mark Ainslie. We're 2011's manager slash coach. Mark's been involved with Finnart for a long time. In fact, that long I can't even remember how long he's been there, but I'm sure, like many other, it came about with maybe your son, your daughter. It's all the same. You're needing a manager, needing a coach, you're needing a volunteer, and that's probably how Mark got involved. So, Mark, hello and welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me on, Toby.
No problem, mate. Episode 2, obviously big levels. Episode 1, you've got big shoes to fill, I would say there, but you're probably bigger shoes than him. You're not as loud as him.
No chance.
That's it. Well, Mark, let's go back to the start. How did you come to be getting involved in Finnart? Whose fault was it? Because it's always somebody else's fault. Or was it as simple as you had a wedding and you wanted to get up 3 or 4 nights of your life in a weekend?
No, I mean, obviously all we knew about Finnart, there was obviously a Sunday amateur team. Obviously I married a Blair. 1995, so I've knew Finnart since then, so a big part of the family. It's probably 1999-2000, myself and Craig Burton started our own team up, and it was where my brother Kevin was in between clubs at the time, and we started up a team called South Lanark Amateurs. It was Craig's father-in-law that kind of ran that team, and we just came in under him. I think we were there about a year. First year, I think we won the league and won a cup that first year. And then after it, I just spoke to Big Phil and says to Big Phil how about us maybe coming under the Finnart banner. And that was kind of how it started. So that was probably 2001, I think.
So what age would they have been then? What age
so probably under 14s, I think, was the first year. Under 13s and under 14s was probably the first year we became Finnart.
Right.
So it was obviously myself and Craig that kind of started it off at that time.
As I said there, obviously it's getting up 3 or 4 nights a week. So started that. Where did you go for there? Early the years, obviously being at Finnart, you've been involved in many teams, many players, coaches, managers. And as I say, it's getting up your time 3 or 4 nights. What keeps you doing it? Why do you continue to do it?
To be honest, this is probably the third age group that I've been involved in. So say 2000, 2001, so 25 years probably involved at Finnart. Obviously a few years where I probably wasn't involved. So that first team, the reason I got in there, I just really enjoyed coaching. I'd started refereeing at the time as well. The reason I got into refereeing was just to try and be
better
more
coach, understand the game a bit more.
That was exactly it, and I ended up taking up refereeing as well. But the coaching side, I just loved coaching the kids. Loved to see them develop. Like to see them play with a smile on their face, and obviously if you get a bit of success out of it, brilliant. So that was like. At that time, it was boys like my brother Kevin Ainslie, obviously Andrew Blair, Derek Blair, played in that team. Again, really good players, some cracking players. Andrew Blair was probably the first boy that I kind of saw when I first, at my early stage of coaching, I thought could move and maybe potentially go on
he should have
play at a better level. Of course, he should have. But I think he liked to drink too much. But anyway, that's Andrew. He was a cracking football player. His thing was probably try to keep his discipline on the pitch.
No,
as you probably know, I think that when he played for the senior team later on, I think teams just targeted him because they knew he had a short fuse. Yep. But what a player on his day, if he could just stick to playing his own game, he was a great player to have in the team.
So obviously you had Damien, you had obviously your own Mark, you started coaching
so his team basically, we were the first, I believe we were the first small-sided team actually. So my Mark, me and Jim Burns actually started the mini kickers at the old community centre in Brigton. And then when we started playing, it was soccer. You didn't play Fun 4s, Fun 5s, it was straight into Soccer 7s. So again, we started what was called then Finnart Soccer 7s. So myself, Jim Burns, Sean Kelly, Tommy Lyon, and Jamie McGowan was involved as well. So Jamie played in the team as well, obviously. A few other boys in that team. So that was literally non-competitive 7-a-side. And then we took them. And again, I think it was 1 year, 11-a-side, non-competitive they played, and then when they play competitive football. And as a Finnart coach, that was when I had my first success. We played in the Cumberland All Kilsyth League, I think, when we were about under 13s. And we played in the second division at the time. We had to go to Steens Thistle, which is, you know that team, you know the pitch. It was blowing a gale that day. But we managed to get a victory. We won 1-0. We won the league that day. Young boy Dermot McGuire.
Dermot.
We Dermot again. I think I said a couple of think it's the seniors first went to
Right.
the West of Scotland. They played a couple against them, so he scored the goal that day. So that was our first success.
He's coached a lot. He's team, he's coached. I
don't know if they did coach. His brother Connor did. So Connor's his brother. He coached, originally started the 2011s up before I get involved. No, I was there, played. And then again, I think that team, when they got to about 15, 16-year-old, it's a hard age. We were competing with a team, I think Clydebank were probably the best team in the league. I think they just pipped us to the post a couple of times. We actually lost a couple of boys to Clydebank, and before you know it, we got 8 players in pre-season, try to get boys in. Ended up having to fold, which was a killer, absolute killer.
See, that's a hard task and all. People just think you've got a team there and you're doing well, so they always have players. But when somebody else is competing against you and your players are seeing that and they're seeing that they're a good side, and then their heads are turned because their pals or they start making mates. And the thing I always like about football and all right, it's easier now to start to know another player for another team because of all the social media stuff. So you get talking that way. But where that comes a bit of danger as well, because then I'm just going to nip in and take your guy off you, or the players are talking to them and get their heat turned. You know what I mean? And that's, if they're winning stuff and you maybe know you're maybe struggling, like third, fourth, and just getting put out of cups, it's minor details, and there's a thin line between the success and failure. So when they see teams winning, they want to go and do it. They want to go and play with them.
Totally agree. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter what age it is. This is one of the issues that kind of we've spoke about recently, the past year or two, with like coaches and parents and stuff like that. Football's about winning. Like obviously, first and foremost, especially at the age that kids, it's development first and foremost, enjoyment. Make sure kids are getting plenty of game time. Ultimately, the boys want to win.
So that's why it's competitive football.
Exactly.
If it's non-competitive, then it's totally different. You can give no disrespect to the player or whatever, but you can give anybody an opportunity because you're not playing for anything. You're only playing for the sake of playing and having fun. And that's great, but there comes a point in time they need to learn about the competitive side of the game. They need to learn about winning as everything. I mean, you don't see the best teams in the world, we're fine, we're just playing the game. They want to win. Even when you look at, I mean, I was watching a game the other week, Barcelona legends, Real Madrid legends, and it was like Ronaldinho, so a while back. Figo and all that were all playing. There's still that desire and will to win still there.
Definitely.
Irrelevant if it's a charity match and a friendly or a superstars game. Even the rest of the world that live against England there, the soccer game. You see how much it meant to the people to win that game. You know what I mean? So, winning is everything. It is hard.
It's just try to find the balance. The boys want to win. They want to compete. They want to win trophies, of course, today. But then you've got the other side of the coin is game time and all that kind of stuff, and it's trying to manage that. I'm always honest with parents, straight up. If we like a boy and he's maybe struggled to get into the team or he's been injured, he's just coming back and he's out the team, and after 4 or 5 games, you got a parent coming and asking, what's happened to my boy? Honesty is the best policy. And again, at Finnart, we've always said to parents, look, if you think you've got an opportunity to go elsewhere, all that kind of stuff, we started the age group that I've got just now, we've got 3 teams, so there's also an opportunity, which we've done, for boys to move down a level.
So in your 2011s, are you the blue, the blacks, or the whites?
I'm the head coach of the 2011s, but obviously 3 teams are run kind of separately. We just keep us together, have conversations to move boys up and down. So I take the Blues, which is the kind of advanced team.
It's a hard task, mate. You've got many players. You've got about 40 players.
Between the 3, we're close to 3 teams at 2011s. Over 50, I think.
50 players. I mean, so it's very hard to keep everybody happy, give everybody game time. But quite like what you're saying there, and that's the way it should always be as well. Like, go down and come up, and it's like the way we see it's like the 20s. So if you're good enough at the 20s, then you get an opportunity to go to the senior team. And then the same with the senior team. This is the thing a lot of people don't understand. If you're 25, say, you can still play under 20s a few games to get your fitness up, to get your levels back if you're coming back from injury, and also to help the younger players in the generation to see, a bit of shape and a bit of guidance. And that's great. That's what the development league's for. And that's the way it should be all the way straight down your teams. A wee pathway right up to the top, and you can go up and down your age group depending on how good or how indifferent or your season's going.
Totally agree with you, Toby. And last year we only had 2 teams at 2011. So we had a discussion amongst the coaches about starting a 3rd team up because we could see there was maybe 3 or 4 boys who played in the top team in the Blues. They were struggling for game time. We wanted to kind of move them into the Blacks. But that was obviously a knock-on effect for some boys who played in the Blacks, so maybe struggling for game time. So rather than losing them to just asking them to leave or whatever, we decided to start a 3rd team up. which again has been a huge success. I mean, again, some conversations were difficult last year with parents and kids and all that kind of stuff about moving down. Because the Blues last year, we won the league last year, so we were asking 3 or 4 boys who we probably didn't see we're going to get a lot of game time moving into this season to basically take a step down, but we'll try to grow that Blacks team also. And again, you're then having the same conversation with 3 or 4 kids and parents of the Blacks about moving them down into a brand new team that we've not even started yet. But it's been a huge success, I'm honest with you. I mean, even just, again, the Blues went on to win the league this year, Division 1. The Blacks finished second in Division 2, so they're going to get promoted into Division 1 next season, so 2 teams playing the same league. And the Whites in their first season were just picked to the post for second place in the 3rd division. So again, almost got promoted, but brilliant season they had. Absolutely great for a team that were literally
just put together.
That's it. But the reputation we've got at that age group is phenomenal. I mean, I know those teams are struggling for players and stuff like that, but we're having to bat them off.
Just done away.
Honestly.
And you realise you do want to win things, but it comes at a cost. I mean, as I said, I was going to say anyway, your season done really well there. Your team won a few trophies. I was going to mention obviously other teams are unlucky as well. I was going to ask, what do you put it down to? Is it just as simple as a few changes, as you've said, maybe players moving up, moving down, or is it a new way working the team? Or is it other coaches coming in, maybe a different outlook? Or
I think you need to have the right coaches, to be honest. I mean, let's be honest, 99% of coaches that come in to any club are probably parents or a relative. I mean, I'm the only one in the 2011s who is not a parent. Obviously, my nephew played in the team. So a lot of these guys don't have
a connection, the family.
Maybe not even get coaching experience. So obviously, I try to help them get them through their coaching badges and stuff like that. All I can say is the guys that we've got 2011s, even the new guys that have come in to the new Whites team, every one of them are brilliant. They're really good, fantastic. I mean, at the Blues in particular, because I'm closer to the Blues, I can't take a wee bit of a step back when it comes to the coaching. I've got guys in there who are doing a fantastic job, and guys who played with Mikey Brown's one of their coaches, obviously played with Finnart, Scottish Cup winner. His wee boy plays in the team as well. Wee Mikey's our captain. Again, just sets a standard. Do you know what I mean? And again, it's no pressure. Everything should always be positive when you're coaching. I'm a big believer in that. Mm-hmm. Should they be, if a boy does something wrong, there's no point shouting, balling on a pitch or
I take my side at the end.
Take my side, talking through it, especially at that age or younger.
Put them into a shell and they might not come back out it. And
always be positive. Always be my mindset, to be honest. And again, it feeds through it to the rest of the coaches in 2011s.
I'm going to ask all the coaches or managers and whoever I get on the show as well, mate, the same question. What would you say is the hardest part? Probably speaking about it, but what is the hardest part of taking on a team at Finnart, or just taking on a team in general? What do you see as the stumbling blocks or the barriers to running a team?
I think the hardest part is probably what everybody sees. So everybody sees you on a Tuesday and a Thursday night at training and a Sunday at a game. It's probably everything that happens in the background. Organising games, doing registrations. Obviously, we've just moved over to Comet, which was a bit of a nightmare at the start of the season. Trying to get my boys registered, make sure fees are paid, all that kind of stuff. Just that in general. Obviously, again, try to keep relationships, try to build relationships, especially with parents, because you need the support of parents. And I know parents maybe get a bad name in the sense that they're always on your back, coaches back, this and the next thing. It's probably one or two. And see if you're honest and upfront with parents in the offset and you have a conversation with your parents at the start of the season and just let them know what your plans are, how things are, and that you're approachable at certain times. We always used to say, don't approach us after a game, after training, maybe send us a message privately, we'll arrange to have a meeting or something like that if you're concerned. Because again, you want to have that open. So I suppose the kind of relationship side of it can be difficult as well.
So big criticisms as well. As I was saying to Brian on his podcast, I'm critical of Brian when he was a manager, and I used to say, and I used to go, I shouldn't be doing it, because I know better, but sometimes it just gets to you. You know what I mean? Like during a game, you just don't entertain. I've been to watch a few of your games and I've seen what's happening, and I've been to a lot of 20s and that, and so I used to go around and say to Brian, you need to take him off, or you need to tell him he's like, I know I'm going to, but well, you need to do it, because if I'm seeing it just as a spectator, you the manager should be seeing it and should be reacting. Not mean it's an active reaction. He's like, I know. So criticism's hard, and there's a time and a place, and it's not during the game when you're chasing it or you're trying to make subs and things. And parents and spectators will always be there. But it's just as you say, give a wee bit of time, let's get past the game, give a message. And I should be doing that with Brian. I should say to the game, Brian, we have phone Monday, speak about the game.
And the thing is, Toby, we're no professionals, we're doing this voluntary, do you know what I mean? So I've not always got the right, I'm not like I said, isn't the right decision, you make the right decisions at the time. And again, everybody have an opinion, parents have an opinion, you should have put that boy there. That's when you don't entertain it. Right. If it's about your boy and he's not playing, or what can he do better, happy to have a discussion about that. But if it's about you should have done this, you should have done that, at the end of the day, that's what the coaches are there for. And if you want to say it all the time, I think most guys will say it, if you want to give up your time, then you're happy to bring you in.
That's my big thing, I know. What you just said there, I always say that. I've been to a few year games, the last few seasons, and I've been to a lot of other teams, and I always say the same thing to the people I know standing at the side whose Waynes are playing. You should have this and that, because you know you're part of the committee, you're part of the shirt. And they always want to have a wee great, and I always say, well, that's great. What are you doing on Tuesday? What are you doing on Thursday? Nothing. Well, not today. See, instead of that, you're away after tours. Why don't you pull on the jersey, start helping doing the coaching? Oh, I've done my stint, I've done it years ago. Or, it's not for me. Well, it is for the guys, so let the guys get on with the job. As you say, you give them the time in the day when it's right and when it's approachable. So it's hard, it is hard, and that is a big, massive part of how hard it is to run a team, how to take a team on, because you're always going to get criticism. You're always going to get parents or players giving you what they think's right and what you you should have done this different. And you're going to get people like me, spectators, totally saying the same thing. And that's it. Everybody has got an opinion. Whether it's right or wrong, it's totally.
I'll be honest with you, but I used to always think it's when things are going wrong.
Right.
That you would get parents like you.
Because everything's going great and the boys or the lassies playing well.
I've seen a twist. I've seen a different side of this year. So obviously the Blues have been so successful. Obviously we won 4 trophies this season out of 5. But we've still had parents who have not been happy. We've had boys leave mid-season, which we were kind of surprised at, because we thought the boys will want to stick with us to the end of the season and see it out, because we're competing and stuff like that. But credit where credit's due. The boys want to go and play football, and the 2 or 3 of the boys have moved on. Even towards the end of the season, there are a couple of conversations with parents. Again, honest and open conversations with parents. And 1 or 2 have told us already for next season they're looking elsewhere. And again, that's absolutely fine, because ultimately the boys need to be playing football. But so you still get it even when you're successful. I always thought it was only ever when you were.
I don't know.
You get a bad defeat, you should do this, you do that.
That's it. You need to take the good with the bad, and sometimes the good can be bad because you're too successful, and then maybe people only get the game time, or people only get, they think their kid, or even the player themselves, they think they should be playing a lot more. But how can you change a winning team? How can you change it? If a team's consistently winning week in, week out, and everybody's playing well, how do I get back into that team? I need to prove myself at training, and then when you get injured, I need to take your spot, and I need to make that jersey mine. And that's what it comes down to. It comes down to being better than the person that you're filling in for when you get the opportunity, so that it gives you a headache as a manager to say, we Toby has to play this week, because see, last week he came on a sub, set up 2 and scored 1. And we took off Mark didn't do that. So we need to give Toby a start, because that's 3 times he's come off the bench and change the game.
It's the hardest part of it every week, is having a discussion with coaches, what team do we put. But again, with the Blues, because we've been so successful, we've not changed it that much. There's been tweaks here and there, and that's the big difference when you're going from non-competitive to competitive. Non-competitive, when I had a game time calculator, it was that bad. Everybody was getting 17 and a half minutes a day. That's how bad it was, because it's non-competitive. Again, everybody at the club should all be getting fair game time, and everybody at the club should all be playing at the level. Is my opinion on it. But when you get to competitive football, it's totally different. We've got an ethos at 2011s where that's, you need to play your way into the team effectively. You need to, and if you're not in the team, if coaches don't see you in the team, you need to have an honest and open conversations with parents.
Right. Talk about honest and open, should say. You're a referee, or you were a referee, or you thought you were a referee.
Maybe thought, that's probably me, I like it.
Refereeing, how so obviously you said you get into that to try and understand more and help you with your football side. Do you think that was the game changer for you as well? Do you think that made you understand? I've never refereed, right, but again, want to criticise again. I try not to criticise referees, you know, like I say, we've been to many a game and I'm saying, Mark, what do you think of that situation there? Would you have done it different? Or because you've got that insight into the game and the laws of the game, and you would see it different. You still see it as a fan, but you're looking at it and saying, well, that is the right decision. So how did that help you with your team?
I mean, the biggest thing was probably everybody who knows football, who's played football, even professionals, think they know the laws of the game, and they don't until you actually go and do a referee course and you understand the laws of the game more. You know, you don't totally know how difficult it can be. Refereeing again, against I'm same on a Sunday. If I see a guy I know he's trying to talk to the players and he's working, you can see he's working hard. If he makes a wrong decision, he makes a wrong decision. Do you know what I mean? Unless it's blatantly obvious. Again, I try not to be too critical. Although saying that, I think I'm the only one at 2011 that's been saying that. So it's a difficult job. But from a coaching perspective, I suppose just again try to put across the boys about discipline is key. We all get frustrated. The worst thing I ever as a referee, the worst thing was yellow cards for dissent. Talking to a ref or shouting at a ref. So I always say to the boys, look, you need to respect the referee. If he makes a decision, he's going to change it. There's no point in you arguing with him because you just pick up yellow cards, this, that, the next thing. And to be fair to our boys, I don't think we've had anybody sent off this season. Maybe one start of the season. That yellow cards and stuff like that, we don't get. They're few and far between.
I believe
that was a good thing for me to bring into the coaching side. I think
you're saying there that you're the only one who's been sent off, obviously, in the management side of things, but I do believe that if the manager or the coaches are shouting and bawling at the referee, that just filters through the team, and then the players think it's alright to start shouting at the referee. So again, watching these, I don't really see much. Or if a day it'll be half time or whatever, or when you get an opportunity, or he comes out to talk a sub or something, I've seen he's asking about certain decisions and explain it, and that's it. But there is a time and a place to ask a referee, the same as this time is a place to ask a coach issues about kids and that. But I do feel that it is beneficial, but it's probably helped your team as well, knowing the understanding laws of the games, and then the way how the referee treats the team as well. Because I believe if there's understanding and respect there for the team, the referee will be a wee bit more lenient towards him, or he'll be a wee bit more progressive, proactive to referee in the game in a manner which is right. If somebody's on your case, you mustn't go at yourself, mate. You can't say that you didn't. If somebody was shouting and bawling, you imagine refereeing Danny, right? Taylor.
I did.
Right, so it's your mate, but he's still shouting and bawling at you to the fact that you're going, he's a wreck. How hard is it to control your emotions when somebody is constantly on
it's difficult because your concentration, especially as a referee, you need to concentrate in the game. If you've got somebody constantly in your ear, you need to manage it. You know, if you can manage it without yellow cards, try and manage it. Maybe pull the captain aside, you need to speak to your number 9 pal. So wee things like that, I used to always do. Obviously, they've changed the law recently, the last couple of years.
It's only the captains.
Maybe only, which I think is great, to be fair, because that you've seen the English Premier League, all these players all in.
You still see it. I seen one. I was watching one today. It was I can't say their names. Like the junior guy, the Victus Junior or something for Real Madrid. Venus Junior. Right, aye. So him, right, and he's playing against whoever it is, but he's just sort of forearm smashed to the guy. But then every single player is on the referee for the other team. Valencia, I think it was. But that doesn't. It's no right. It's, and you say that the Premiership used to get mob handed. Man, you were the best at it, to be fair, going and complaining into the referee's face to the point where I think they did feel intimidated, so they were a wee bit maybe no want to give decisions because they didn't want that animosity or that altercation on the pitch. Because as you say, it's about your concentration, your levels you're getting affected. It's going to affect your judgment or how you make a decision or a call a decision because you're getting grief. You know what I mean? So it's the hardest thing in the world, refereeing and that. But know what? We need it because see if we've not got somebody refereeing the game, we're doing the laws. The game just goes to pot. Somebody needs to be managing the players on the park and see if you can be like this. You've probably been in games like this yourself where you've not had an issue. The players have been outstanding. Probably no right enough, right? But you get a game where there's no incidents and you think to yourself, well, that was some game. I mean, I've seen games where did them to get booked today?
You get used to it's the same with with your coaching. You get used to the opposition team. You kind of know the opposition team's tactics roughly are going to be against you. So as a referee, you know you do the same. You go into a pitch. If you've done the same these teams before, you kind of know what you're going to get. So you can maybe change your tactics to try and manage a game and stuff like that.
So having a word before the game, Would you?
Again, I think we're probably going to have Q talking about refereeing here, but refereeing, you just need, if you speak to guys and speak to them the way you like to be spoke to, then
respect back.
And that's the same when you're coaching as well. If you speak to a referee, you speak to an opposition coach, if you give a bit of respect, you should give a bit of respect back. Do you know what I mean? It's just kind of how it is.
It's always respect, as you say there, and respecting your coach, and the players respecting their coach, and you respecting your players. It only bodes well for the game. It only keeps your team happy, keeps them all together. If you've got a good atmosphere, a good harmony within that dressing room, and they're all the same level, and there's nobody out there, no wee bad apples. If there is, as you say, maybe the captain have a word with them. But even at that, that's what if you're playing for a team, your captain should be doing that anyway. If you see somebody stepping out line, go here, Toby, calm down, man. You keep ahead in the game, because if you don't, you're going to go down a man. You're going to. That's it's hampering the team if they lose somebody as well. So
even at our age group now, Toby, man management, managing even kids at that age can be tricky, can be difficult, because you don't know the situations. So you're another influence in their life potentially. So I can't go back to relationships a bit. It's not just having a relationship with that kid who's in the team. It's again trying to have relationships with the parents or whoever is playing at the training and drop them off, and they're not just dropping them off because you're waving them. Try and get to know them a bit more. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. You talk about coaching. It's not just Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday.
No, I know.
Do you know what I mean? It's almost a full-time job.
It is, because you could be on a chat to them through the week, telling them instruction or whatever's happening for the weekend. I don't know how you operate. Sometimes, previously what I've been part of would be, you would send out the team a night before, or you tell them who's in the squad, something like that, and they turn up. You know what I mean? And then so they know, or you know them, or you're taking them maybe the Thursday at your training. This is what we're going to be starting with, boys. So you know you're wanting you ready, things like that. And that's happened in the past. It's good if you can do that, but even then, I would imagine if you did do that, you'd probably get a wee bit cut off parents going, why is he a sub?
We've never worked it that way. We normally always just tell the team
match day.
We always meet an hour before, and again, a couple of reasons for that. Boys end up no well, boys may end up turning up late. We've got kind of a 15-minute window roughly normally we kind of work towards. If boys are running late, we might change it up because they're interrupting the alarm up effectively. But as a coaching team, we'll probably have discussed the team for Thursday night of training in our WhatsApp group. I would put a team in, we have a discussion about it, we'd make one or two changes, and then they'd agree and move on, and that's kind of what we end up. Even on my day, we come to pick teams on Sunday.
So, ultimately, you're the main man, you're the manager, you're the coach, but you've got other coaches here, which is, it's a team. It's still a collective effort. You're, as you say, you don't really get much with the training. You're normally hands-on, and you let them deal with whatever. And that means you get opportunity to step back and look to see who is actually performing. Things like that, you can get to see. I don't know. Is it 3 teams training the same night?
We train the same night on a Tuesday, so we're all on the other side park at the green. So on a Tuesday night, again, I'll tend to go and make sure everyone's all right. I know that I don't take involvement in the training with the blacks or the whites, but I just go and make sure I have a wee chat with the coaches for 5 minutes.
In case you need it.
All right, blah, blah, blah. And then we go home. It's what I was to say to the coaches have been excellent. They've been really good. When it comes to match days on a Sunday, ultimately it's my decision, but we always make it. If I'm saying X and 3 of them are saying Y, we'll go with Y. Do you know what I mean?
That's happened in the seniors.
It's never about that. If it's 2 and 2, 2v2, then I'll make a decision, because then you'd just be arguing about it.
You've got to make a decision, and see if it's wrong, you go, well, that was me.
That's the hardest part of it. But again, I think as a unit across the full 2011s, I think definitely got a really good coaching community, if I'm honest with you.
We've got over 90 coaches across the full academy, boys, girls, the whole lot now. Finnart's grown year in years, we know, Mark. There's over 450 players, I'm sure, pulling in on 5. 90 coaches, I just said, we're well established now. The girls' academy is well established. We're starting with mini kickers for the girls as well. We touched on that, obviously, we're part of the mini kickers at the way at the start. It's a big, massive part, but what we really need, the final piece of the jigsaw, obviously we talk about this every time we talk to people, is your own facility. What is your thoughts on that, or you got any thoughts on that?
Again, it's massive. I think it's the one thing that probably Disney bring us all together, is not having. I mean, something if I'm training with 2009s or 2007s, I think training a Friday night, sometimes you'll talk to the guys and you kind of build up a wee bit of relationship. When you go to meetings, coaches meetings, you kind of get to speak to coaches you've probably never met before. Having your own facility, I think, just to bring the Finnart club on at the land would be massive. I know Brian and Gary and Phil and guys at Celtic will be working tirelessly. We've been talking about this, I think, for 7-8 years.
12 years, to be honest. 12 years to
even longer. So there you go. And it's every week or every time I see Brian, I'm like, what's happening now? And it's like, this, that, you know, for these guys who are living it week in, week out, I honestly take my hat after them because it's
some of the stuff at times. Some of the stuff, I mean, initially the first opportunity we thought we were going to get would be the Bowley. Done a lot of work to that, as in no groundwork, but the groundwork as, so to speak, the law of the land, what happens, where do we build, what can be done, how can the pitch be maintained, where do we move it, where's the lights going to go, where's the car park, all that, the structure, the buildings, everything like that. We've got a surveyor out, we've got the architect and all this stuff. We had somebody with a drone and taking pictures of the area and all that, and we had a plan. And then obviously COVID, and then they said no, after COVID it was no, you can't get that. And then there was opportunity with the Crown Point situation, a lot of barriers with that, and then Clyde were trying to get that, and that's no transpired. And then and we're looking at different, we can give you that, but we can't give you that. But we want the full shebang or nothing. And then now we're looking at elsewhere as well. Amarie's, we'll put the video out and all that about that. So it's going to happen. As you say,
I believe it will.
It's the final piece of the jigsaw, which could be bringing everybody under the one banner, under the one roof. The new facility then becomes a fortress, so to speak. It becomes a venue, not just for football, but a community venue where dance groups could use the hall when football's known through the week or whatever it might well be. Pensioners group through the day, walking football for the elderly guys. Because when we get to our age, we still want to play five, still want to play sevens. But if there's guys older us that played with Finnart years and years ago, like your Skirdies, not they would be back playing walking football.
He's no chance.
Know what I mean?
Still
no, but I know. But that looking for that, all the opportunities would come out of just having your own facility. It's not just about football, it's about a community. It's about a community centre, a community hub. We can start having talks on health, mental health, men's health, women's health, fitness clubs, fitness classes. It just becomes so much bigger than just football. So I do believe because when it happens, that's when we get the opportunity. The hard work starts once we get the facility, because we've done all the work to do. But once you get it, you need to keep it, you need to maintain it, you need to build it up, you need to keep it turning there, you need to keep generating money. Everything comes down to having a facility. And if you've got, I spoke to us about Brian on the last one, you just think how many years you've coached at Finnart. Now, if you put that into money terms, how much money do you have made coaching?
Oh, I'd barely retire.
Right. So how much money have you saved the club? And we've got 90 people doing the exact same job as what you're doing. You know what I mean? So just unbelievable that. But two questions obviously I'm going to ask you here. And then I'll ask you one. No, I need to ask you two at the same time, because what is your long-term goal for that, and what is your objectives for next season?
Right, okay, long-term goal, I think the club's grown, the small-sided or the youth setup is the amount of kids we've got, even the girls' academy, just the last 4 or 5 years has went nuts. So that's massively important, obviously. Developing kids, let them enjoy football, let them play. He's no longer there. But the be all and end all is the 3 teams are well set up. They've got great coaches in there already. They don't need I don't really think they need a head coach as such. So I can take that a wee bit of a step back, and I need to figure out. I've said to folk, never say never. I don't know, come August, September, I might be bored. Probably will be. Whether I know I might get involved in some capacity. At Finnart, I don't think I can ever say that I'm leaving. That makes sense. But at this moment in time, I'm for next season anyway. I'm taking a step back. But that age group's in great hands, and I'll be doing to watch them as often as I can as well.
As you say there, obviously you don't see yourself, but obviously had a wee technical issue there. Hopefully it's still all right, it's still going, but the camera didn't have a wee bit of to it and back on. Nothing ever fails me when I do this sort of stuff, mate. But we're still there, it's no stopped, it's still going, it's great. Last thing, Mark, you said there, obviously about it, but thanks very much for coming in. Thanks for giving us your time, giving us your insight, your input in the years you've been at Finnart. Whatever you do in the next few years when you're committed to whatever it may be, wish you all the best and your success, whatever it might well be you're doing. But you do know that there's an opportunity to come to the seniors, be part of the committee, because I'm sure that Brian, Stuart and Phil, myself, would appreciate that opportunity, whether it be just at home games or away games or a both. Obviously you've got other, we've got other commitments as well with the football.
For me, I just need to take the time away just now. Obviously I spoke to Phil, spoke to Brian about it, and I've something I will consider moving forward. I mean, the thing again is, like, I know I can't stay away because I want to see kids develop and progress. I mean, one other thing I wanted to touch on was two that are in the senior team just now, or 2 boys that I brought into
your team, that's it.
Chris Ross and Barry Peters.
Yep. So they'll just be released now because you've mentioned
I'm just putting a wee plug out there, by the way.
No, Chris has done really well the last couple of seasons. When he came in for the amateurs, when Scott had them, a wee bit raw still, whatever, but his heart, his desire, his determination. As soon as he's get in, he's got his opportunity, he's got his place, it's his. I mean, because he gives you 100% every single game, you know. You Barry, twinkle toes, light on his feet, amazing with the ball at his feet, can see a pass, get a good strike, great game by. He just glides past people as if they're not even there. Know what I mean? So that's fair play to you for that, having him in.
No, I think I first seen me Barry. My Mark played with Barry and Chris at Southside. To be Barry was tiny, man. Really tiny. I know he's maybe grew a wee bit. He was a left back, played left back, but you could always see he was going to be a really good player. So I'm glad to see the 2 boys are playing for the season.
Saying that, I know. I think they're there. I think the only Wilson's retired this season. We think
again.
Well, no, but I think he's definitely going to get. I was talking about paddleboard and that with Brian the other week, but the longest person there now would be Brandon probably, which has been. I remember Brandon. He was at Dougie and Danny's team. You know what I mean? So he's been there for I don't know. He was 14 or something, 15. I know.
30 years.
You know what I mean? So and Wilson was there for 22, 23 years. So there is good long-term players there. Chris and Barry and all been there for that period of time as well. And hopefully that's the way it is. There's talk of the new, obviously the next podcast is going to be with Danny and John, the senior management team. So it'll be interesting to see what they're looking forward to for this season coming as well and see what players they're bringing in and see who they've got. But Mark, all I can say is thanks very much.
Thanks for having me, Toby.
No problem, mate, and hopefully maybe we will get you on next time as well. Once you're back in some sort of, I don't know, role for Finnart.
Cheers, mate.
No problem.
Thank you.